Hi everyone. I am so glad you're here. This is Jamie with Sweet Pickins and we are going to craft today. Remember, you can follow us on Sweet Pickins Reno on Instagram or Facebook or shopsweetpickins.com. Definitely like the video and subscribe if you're not already. So let's do a really fun DIY. Excuse the dogs because the dogs are outside and the neighbors are out in the backyard and they're going crazy. So we are going to get started on this project. I'm going to show you guys what you need and then we'll get started. So I did actually, just true transparency, start the video a few seconds ago and somebody knocked on the door. So the dogs went crazy and so I'm just going to start it all over. However, I did cut off the ribbon off the heart. So just forgive me for that. All right. So we're going to make a Valentine home decor piece. However, I am not a huge fan of red, especially if we just got done with the holidays and we had so much color and red and all the things. Personally, I don't love that. I just love more of a calmer, more neutral feel. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a Valentine heart and turn it into an item that you can keep in your master bedroom and your entryway all year long. And if you have these elements, it's going to cost you nothing. So I bought a heart from Hobby Lobby. It's just some pressed wood. You don't have to use a heart like this. If you have a cardboard box or some really thick cardstock, you could do this also. So don't think that you have to go buy something because you don't. If you just have cardstock and no cardboard, I would say do several layers of it, just glue it together. That way you have something a little more substantial. So this did come from Hobby Lobby. It did have a red, hanger on it, and we're gonna definitely get rid of it. And that is actually what I had already cut off. So then I love tissue paper. I love tissue paper as far as like for packages and wrapping things and crafting. So I have this really beautiful, isn't that pretty? Really, really pretty tissue paper. It's a nice thick tissue paper. So listen, I have this because I already had it and I'm gonna use it and it's gonna match the house and it's gonna make it an all year long project. However, if you don't have some tissue paper you love, it's okay. If you have white, go ahead and very carefully, this is for a different video, but very carefully, you can print on tissue paper and put it through your regular printer. Another thing is if you don't have tissue paper, you could use some of the layers from a napkin. Napkins are usually 2 to 4 layers. They call them plies. You can use that also and turn that into, a tissue style paper that you run through your computer or your printer, I'm sorry. Or you can actually just print something and use printer paper and get the same look. You can use the whole sheets or you can find some with pretty flowers, cut out the flowers, paint and Mod Podge this. You'll have to kind of retrofit how I'm gonna do it. However, it is totally doable and it doesn't really have to cost you any money. Okay, so I went upstairs and I wanted to grab some linen. So I have some gauze. It's a very, very, very dusty, pale pink. I mean, very pale. It almost, maybe in the camera it looks really pink, but if you weren't careful in certain light, you would think that that is just an off-white. Then I have some remnants left from an old vintage quilt that I had cut up for a project. I grabbed some simple yarn. So that's what I grabbed. I did grab some twine because we're going to put a new hanger on and maybe use the twine with the little elements of fabric. I also, one thing you're going to absolutely need is Mod Podge. I like the yellow label, which is the matte Mod Podge. If you don't have Mod Podge, you can make your own, and it's 50% water to 50% Elmer's school glue. Mix it really, really well. Put it in a container that shuts very tight, and you've got yourself some Mod Podge. You're gonna need scissors, and I also grabbed myself my inking pad and my inker. So I don't know if we're gonna use this. We probably are. This is a chocolate brown, just to give a little distressing, but I do have this, not necessary. It's just something that I grabbed. So let's get started with this. So if you go to Hobby Lobby and you buy this, there is a definite front side and there's a definite back side. So For me, the back side is a little, not rougher to texture, rough along the edges. So the front is a little more beveled and it just looks just smoother and like it was buffed out. So you could choose whatever side you want. And if you want to paint the back, you totally can. I personally love this brown, so I don't need to paint it. If it was a different kind of wood, I definitely would paint it. The one thing that I did forget to grab is a sanding block, so I will have to go grab one of those at some point. So what you're gonna do is, I just have one sheet of tissue paper here, and you're gonna just take, if I can get this open, you're just gonna take and put a really light coat of Mod Podge all over it. You're gonna wanna make sure that it is consistent, not heavy in certain spots, and not too dry in certain spots, because then you're gonna start having some issues with bubbling or lifting. So just be really conscious of that. And you don't have to do it all at once. You can do it in sections if you are a little concerned that you may have some issues working fast with it. Just do it in sections. Me, I'm good. I feel comfortable doing it all at one time. But the one thing I will say is make sure all your edges have no gaps with nothing in it. And if it looks like it's too thin, go back just like I did and just add a little bit more. Because the one thing you don't want this to do is to dry out. And when you do it too thin, it'll dry almost instantly. So just work consistent. And then what I like to do, as you can see, I put on, I'm gonna go back over the edges and I make sure all the Mod Podge is going the same direction. All the strokes from the Mod Podge. It really doesn't make a difference. However, I don't want to deal with ridges. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys this really quick. You can see. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I don't want to waste this. So I am going to take it and I'm going to try to save and be cautious of what I'm using. I don't want to put it right in the middle and then lose a lot of it. So what I like to do is figure out where I want it and just lay it down. If you get crinkles in it, that's okay. It's actually gonna add more texture, which is a good thing with a pattern. So a lot of people will put it in the middle and then you lose a lot of your paper. That is one thing. Another thing a lot of crafters I see do is use a card or a brayer with this kind of project. I have to say, with paper, it's okay. With tissue, not so much. You don't really want to do that with tissue paper. Tissue is so thin. So just use your hands. Make sure the edges are all down. I like to go over the edges several times, and then I like to go from the inside out, pushing any extra Mod Podge or air bubbles out. I don't want them sitting on this project. So you're gonna get wrinkling, but it doesn't look bad. It does not look bad, I promise. It kind of just blends. You can use your thumb in certain spots, but just be gentle. Remember, it's only tissue paper. Okay. So now I still have this whole section to use on a project. This higher quality tissue paper is actually not very cheap. It's a little more expensive. I think for me, I pay about $15 for 20 sheets. So it's almost $1 a sheet. let me go get a sanding block. Sorry about that. Here I am. I'm actually grabbed my gator. If you guys don't have a gator, get a gator. They're awesome. Just small sanding block, but fits in your hand really, really good. All right. So it is not dry by any means. So when you do this, you're going to want to be careful, but ideally you're going to want to wait. But because we're on video, we're not going to wait. I'm just going over all the edges just really quick. Now, the key to success on this is to go from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. Don't go back and forth. Go top to bottom like this, okay? You're going to want to not have a heavy hand. You're just going to want to lightly, and it's going to release the paper. If you see it didn't release, you can go back over, but pull it up each time, okay? Because tissue paper and paper definitely end up having different, outcomes depending on how you do things. Like paper, you could go back and forth really honestly with no issues. However, tissue paper, you can never, because if you do, you're going to pull it up. So I just go down, pull up, go down, pull up. And just make sure it grabs it all. Guys, this is such an easy project. You guys already probably know how to do this. It's just kind of like a little refresher course, or if you haven't, now you're learning something new. But I like to make, I don't really decorate for Valentine's Day. I have a few little hearts. If you guys can see them on the mirror, that's literally all I have in the house. And I just have those because I came across them. So I was like, oh, I should put these up. So I don't really decorate for Valentine's, but I do love the thought of some hearts. And, it's just, hearts are such a symbol of love and family. And I just really, really, really like that. So I'm not opposed to decorating with hearts. I just don't want Valentine hearts. See, I'm consistent, but I'm taking my time at the same time. Okay, so there you go. So see how pretty that is? And it's a little darker than it's going to be. Once it's dry, it's going to lighten up. Not as light as this because you've got the wood backing, but it's going to lighten up. So what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to go around. If there's any edges coming up, just take a little Mod Podge and put it down. Okay, and then you're gonna just make sure you don't have any little pieces. Like you guys may or not be able to see that. It's just really small little piece of tissue. So we're gonna just get that. So we've got everything. So you can see just how simple and pretty this is. So this is where the linens are gonna come in. And the twine. So first of all, we're going to need to make a hanger. Okay, so just kind of eyeball it. I just eyeball it. And if I need to make it a little longer or change it, I totally could do that. So I'm just, there was holes in this, so I'm just going back through the holes. These holes are too big and this twine is too thin to just make a knot and call it good. So if your twine was bigger, you probably could do a knot in the back and then that would be fine. So because this is really thin twine, I'm just going to tie it 3 times and it will just be showing on the top. And then this is where you can gauge like how big you want it. And if you have extra, this is when you could cut it off after you tie it. And you could use ribbon, you could use fabric, you could use rope. There's so many things. You could use wire. There's so many things you can use for your hanger. So this is what I have here. So I've got this extra, so we're just gonna go ahead and cut this off. Get a tiny bit closer. So now we just made a hanger, simple, pretty. Isn't this cute? It's just really simple and cute. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some of our linens, and I am gonna use this pink. I just want my pieces really, really, really thin. I want to use the pink because it'll add just a tiny bit of color, but you know what it's going to add? Texture, because it's such a textured fabric, and this piece is from the vintage quilt is not. So it's just going to add a little bit of texture. So we're just going to cut a piece here. And you see I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I could care less. I could totally care less, you know, that it matches. So we're not going to make an X. We're just going to just slightly like this. We're going to go back and forth slightly. And then I'm going to take my yarn. I'm going to cut my yarn, and I'm going to cut a couple pieces of twine. So again, lay them down, just layer them, lay them down. No rhyme or reason. Okay, so now you just have this little, just fun little bit of fabric. It's not a bow, it's just kind of just tousled fabric. So now I'm going to just take a piece of twine and I'm going to tie it all together. And I'm going to double knot it just to make sure it does not move. But first I like to do one and just check it and see if I need to move, because you can move your fabric around at this point. Okay, and then we're going to do one more. So that's it. So you're just going to have this little bit. So this is just going to add just a little something to this. This is a totally extra step that you don't have to do. So essentially it's just going to be like this. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to take my ink. I have it in chocolate. You can use any. You could actually take this along, just your ink pad. If you don't have an inker, that's fine. I'm going to just literally see how I'm just kind of going over this. And I'm holding in the air because I really don't want this ink on my table. Pigment and ink is ferocious. Like it just, when it gets onto something, it sticks. You're really not going to see a lot of this, but what it's going to do is it's just going to give a little bit darker of an outline on the outside. So not sure if you guys can see this. It's actually starting to get a little dark here. I started the video like 2 hours ago, and then someone came to the door. We actually got a new couch, and so somebody was coming to pick up our old couch. Okay, so we're just going around the edges here. If you want to incorporate some ink on the tissue paper or on your paper, you absolutely could do that too. Which I probably will. Kind of actually lay it on the top, not just on the edges. But do you see I'm being quick, I'm not being precise, and I'm not being heavy-handed. That is one thing you can add, but you can't take away. Remember that with ink, because oof. I like to dab my twine or whatever my hanger is just to kind of have it kind of match. I'll kind of go in a little bit too, but I mostly keep it on the edges because this will give like a little bit of a halo outlook, like an outward look to it. Okay, so there we have it. I'll take a really close picture of this. I know, guys, my camera's a little further away than normal. It's because I'm using a different phone stand than I normally do. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna find your ends and you're just gonna tie it around whatever hanger you decide to use. If that's ribbon, if that's fabric, if that's twine, or if it's a wire. So I'm just gonna triple knot this. I'm gonna cut the excess off. And you now have an everyday piece that you can use in your home. If you don't like this, you don't have to have this. And if the colors are too bright, you like how muted this is, but this is a little bright, you can take your ink on here and kind of dull it down. So you can see how simple and elegant and pretty this is. It would be so pretty in a master bedroom. So I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm not gonna add any more ink to my inker. I'm just literally gonna use whatever I have, and I'm just gonna go over the fabric, and it's just gonna mute it and give it a little bit of a distress look, but you're really not gonna be able to see the distressing. It's just gonna add just a little bit more. So that's it. Guys, what an easy DIY. So don't discount hearts. Don't discount a simple DIY, a simple project. This is the back. And again, you guys can make this double-sided or you can paint the back. The brown matches so well with this that I want to leave it there. But if you come in, you can see the texture in it. See the textures in it? And then you can see the distressing. It's so light, but it's enough to give it a darker look on the outside and then move into a lighter shade. Pretty, huh? So this would be great for an entryway or in your bedroom. This is where I'm actually, well, maybe I'll hang it while it's Valentine's Day. I'll hang it by our front door on one of the hooks. And then I will probably move it to our master bedroom. I just think that this would be so pretty. So guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. I'm trying to get out more videos and cooking and DIYing and baking and crafting and all the things. I'm trying to get that more out to you guys because I know you guys have asked for more DIY and crafting. So I'm working on it. So anyway, you are going to see me use this tissue paper one more time, at least one more time. I think I'm going to use some of the tissue paper for inside some of my drawers when I do furniture. But we are going to do one more video very, very soon. Some sweet family, Missy, she gave me an old vintage watering can. It's probably from the 70s, and I'm from the 70s, and I'm not sure if I call myself vintage, but we'll just go with it. So I am actually going to take this paper and Mod Podge it onto the actual watering can, and in that case we definitely will want to seal it. And then I thought, how cute would it be to use it in our home for some fresh flowers or out on the patio or the porch. I think it would just look so pretty. So anyway, you guys will see me use this one more time, so I can't wait to do that with you. So just remember, go to the thrift store, go garage selling, go picking in your own garage and see what you can repurpose and redo. So thank you guys so much for following. Make sure again you're liking and subscribing to our channel. Also, shopsweetpickens.com, and you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Sweet Pickens Reno. Thank you guys so much.